Okay, so I'm going to be talking about my inquiry project, and for my inquiry project, I did it over reaction time. So a little bit of background information. For this study, I was concerned mainly with the differences in reaction time among ages and their correlating body types. But later on, as we go through the graphs, I'll start talking about how sex is involved, for female versus male. For a little background information at the start, let's know what reaction time is. It is the amount of time it takes to respond to a stimulus. And within previous studies, it is known that there is a delayed response in reaction time in certain ages, which, as we can already tell, it would be older ages. And age-related slowing reflects delays in response selection and motor execution. As I talk about this, I feel like college kids should be interested in this study because in a few short years, their brains will be entering the slowing process where reaction time differs. In a study specifically, it was said that your reaction time peaks at actually age 24. My claim for this study is, so according to my evidence I gathered through the investigation, I claim that reaction time slows down in ages past 24, yet males react faster than their female counterparts. By saying this, I mean that males have faster reaction times than females, but not faster reaction times than participants younger than them. And that's when I will start talking about the sex, female versus male. For my first test, I used the ruler test. It's very well known for reaction time. You can see it used throughout the internet. I'm sure you might have even used it in elementary school. For this test, I used a ruler. All participants, they stood outside equally apart on an even pavement, and they did this because we don't want any biased data. Each participant had the ruler held in front of them and dropped. After the ruler was dropped, they were to catch it and see how far the ruler traveled before it was stopped. This shows a participant's reaction time, which is where they landed on the ruler. The lower down it was caught, the slower the reaction time. And just to make sure that these data they were correct, I made each participant take the test 3 times, just to enable to not have biased data. Continuing on with the ruler test, I will be showing you a graph right here on our right side. In this graph, you will see 3 things. First, you will see the correlation between males and females in different age groups. Then you will see the evidence that males defeat females for reaction time. And lastly, the evidence that despite males defeating their female partners, a younger male can still defeat an older male. Overall, when we look at this ruler test and this graph that comes with it, we show that Mike at age 48 beat Melissa at age 48, her score. But despite that, Dylan had a lower score than him. Dylan's age is 23, and he had the best reaction time among the group due to him being the youngest male. Despite Mike losing to a younger male, he also lost to a younger female. The males in each group beat their female counterpart, but as age increases, the participants cannot beat their younger participants. Continuing onward, I did another test. It was called the mouse test. For this test, participants clicked a mouse as many times as they could in a time limit of 10 seconds. As stated in my claim earlier, data continued to show that males in their reaction times were better than their female counterpart, but they were still not better than the younger participants. And with the other test, the ruler test, I continued the same thing with this mouse test. All participants continued this test 3 times for unbiased data. Their CPS, which is clicks per second, were taken and displayed on the graph on the next slide. So we see right here, we see the mouse test, we see the graph that shows the differences. So in this graph, you will see another 3 things. The correlation between males beating their female counterpart, yet again, younger participants beating the older participants, which was talked about in the earlier slide, and females beating their older ages. So the graph shows Mike, again, age 48, beating Melissa's age 48 score. But he doesn't beat Dylan's or Taylor's scores, and they are both at age 23. This supports my claim that males can beat their females' reaction time, but cannot beat the reaction times of younger ages. And we see this also with my mammal at the oldest age. She has the lowest score of all, and that's due to age. She's in her 70s. Continuing onward, let's talk about the empirical studies evidence. When I looked at other studies, they found that age increases, cognitive performance slows down. There is a variability in reaction time performance of younger and older adults. Also, in another study, it is found that the corpus callosum can begin to have problems as a person gets older. Physical activity can help to counteract the effects of this age-related degeneration. And we see up here the corpus callosum in a diagram, so you know what that is. And also, your brain's reaction time peaks at age 24, which I talked about earlier, but older age can compensate for this with their slower reaction time with strategy and efficiency. It's not all about age. They also have other things that they can do with that age. Overall, the reasoning for my claim. So when I look through the data and the graphs, we see this continuing correlation. Males can defeat their female counterparts in reaction time, but they cannot beat the reaction times of younger males and females. Data even between my findings and empirical evidence from other studies show a correlation between age-related problems. Age is obviously the number one problem for reaction time due to the brain peaking at a young age and slowing down throughout the rest of life. And males, they have a quicker perception of motion. This can also help them to have a better reaction time. So they are typically stronger than females, as we know, but the reaction times for auditory as well as visual stimuli are better overall to make that reaction time better than a female's. My reasoning continued. It is hypothesized that since males have better reflexes than females, they are able to react faster. But women have a better sight at night and have a more acute sense of smell, taste, and hearing. Men are better in spatial coordination and have a better sense of direction in most cases, and that helps them yet again to have a better reaction time than females. All in all, this study's data, including empirical evidence found, justifies that males have better reaction times than females, but they do not have faster reaction times to those younger than them. And here is my works cited page.